Okay, so welcome to this video on mathematical problem solving. In order for us to get a hang of how to answer mathematical problems or to solve mathematical problems, we're going to take a look at a very easy question, a very simple question, and we're going to solve this question, and then we're going to model how we solved it. We're going to look at what went into solving this problem. And then this model that we have, you can apply this model to any mathematical problem and solve it with success. So before we do that, I want to show you two ways of thinking. And we'll call them System 1 and System 2. Now, System 1 way of thinking is often very hurried, and it's more of a very impatient and instinctual way of thinking. This way of thinking is the same way you would think if you approached a lion, right? You would think very quickly and you would try to escape the situation very quickly. However, System 2 way of thinking is more purposeful and more conscious, and we can say a more patient way. So to give you an example, let's say I had a kilogram of feathers, 1 kg of feathers, and I had a kilogram of bricks, very heavy bricks. One kg of bricks, and I was to ask you, which weighs more, the kilogram of feathers or the kilogram of bricks? Now, if you was using System 1 way of thinking, you would think very quickly, well, of course I know the answer is bricks. Bricks are heavier, right? Bricks are heavier than feathers. However, if we look closely, we can see that they both weigh a kilogram. So although you'll probably need, let's say, 1 billion feathers to add that up to a kilogram, and you only need a few bricks because bricks are obviously heavier, we're still looking at a kilogram each of both. So they both weigh the same. So before we even begin to answer this question, I'd like to draw your attention to these two ways of thinking, System 1 and System 2. And the advice is to always think in a System 2 way of thinking. Think purposely, think consciously, and really get to grips with the question and read the question thoroughly before you try to answer it. Okay, so with that in mind, let's approach our question. So let's have another example of System 1 way of thinking. So let's say I was to read this question, I was to read it very quickly. I'm very confident, I feel like I can answer this question, it looks quite easy. So a bat and a ball cost £1.10. The bat costs £1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Well, the bat and the ball together cost £1.10. The bat costs £1 more than the ball. So let me just do £1.10 minus £1, and I have 10p. That's the answer that I can see, 10p. And I believe that this is the right answer. However, this is incorrect, because if the ball costs 10p and the bat costs £1 more than the ball, that means the bat must cost £1 plus 10p, which will give us £1.10. And if the bat costs £1.10 and the ball costs 10p, let me just get rid of that 0. If the ball costs 10p and we add that up, then we get £1.20. But it's not £1.20. The bat and the ball cost together £1.10. So we can see that if I use System 1 way of thinking and I approach the question very hastily, I'm more certain to get tripped up and to get the wrong answer. So now let's approach this question again And this time let's read the question carefully and use our system 2 way of thinking. So now I'm just going to solve this problem, and then after we'll go through what went into solving this problem. So the bat and the ball cost £1.10. So I'm going to say, just for brevity, I'm going to say that the bat, I'm going to call that T, and the ball I'm going to call L. So the bat, which is T, plus the ball, which is L, equals £1.10. And here we have the bat costs £1 more than the ball. So if I say that the bat equals T, as we said, and the bat costs £1 more than the ball, so the ball, which is L, plus £1 equals the bat. So now it looks like I have a set of simultaneous equations, and as we know there's two ways of solving simultaneous equations. We'll go with the substitution method. So if the bat T equals the ball L plus 1, then I can substitute in for T on our the first row of our equation up here. So I can say now that L plus 1, which is T, we have our T here, plus L equals £1.10. So L plus 1 plus L gives us 2L, or 2 ball, plus 1 equals £1.10. And then we can subtract 1 from both sides. We want to find out the value of L, which is the ball, so we can subtract 1 from both sides, which gives us 2L equals £1.10 minus 1, which gives us 0.10. And now we want to further isolate this L term here, which is the ball. So we're going to divide through by 2 on both sides. So we have 2L over 2 equals 0.10 over 2, and that gives us L equals 0.05. So our correct answer would actually be 0.05. So what went into solving this problem here? Well, the first thing that I did is that I gathered information. So we can write here, the first step is gather information. Here we can see I've gathered information about the problem here. I said that the bat plus the ball equals £1.10. That was explicit in the question. The bat plus the ball equals £1.10, and then the ball plus £1 equals the bat. So the bat costs £1 more than the ball. So we have our ball plus £1 equals the bat. So we gathered information. The second thing we did, or we kind of done it at a similar time, but we break these up into steps, is that we write out the problem algebraically, or we write it mathematically. So write problem mathematically. So after that, the third thing I've done is that I've recognized what kind of problem I was trying to solve. Recognize problem. So I've realized that this was a set of simultaneous equations. And then fourthly, in order to solve that problem, is that I needed to have some kind of understanding of how to solve simultaneous equations, or how to do substitution, because in this example here we substituted the value for t into our first equation here. So what I've done is that in my head I searched the catalogue of, let's say, mathematical techniques. So I had to have a good understanding of mathematical techniques, good understanding of math techniques, and how to implement them. And there's one thing that I missed out here. After I found out the answer, I should have checked the answer. So if the ball costs 5p, let's say the ball L equals 0.5, and the bat T costs £1 more than the ball, so we have 1 plus 0.5, 0.05 I should say. So that means that the bat must equal £1.05, and if the bat T plus the ball L equals £1.10, then here we have it. We have the bat, which is T, which is 1.05, plus the ball, which is 0.05, equals £1.10. So we've checked the answer, and that is indeed correct. So our fifth step would be to make sure you check the answer. So just to summarize, first what we've done is that we gathered information. We realized that the T, which is the bat, plus the L, which is the ball, equals £1.10. So we gathered information. We writ the problem mathematically. So we writ it in terms of T and L. We had the plus sign and the equal. And then we recognize what problem it is. That is, we realize that this looks like a simultaneous equation, and we could use substitution. The fourth thing is that I needed to have a good understanding of how to actually do it. I needed to have prior studied substitution and simultaneous equations before, and then I implemented it, and then I checked the answer. So if you follow these 5 steps, you'll guarantee success in answering any kind of mathematical problem. I'll see you next time.